Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be playing as a West Russian Revolutionary Front. However, I've got a new sub-mode equipped, Operation Thunderstorm. I haven't used the sub-mode, I've heard it's got good reviews, so I thought I'd give it a try. Now, I could have chosen a nation like Irkutsk, or I could have gone down any other communist nation throughout Russia, because Operation Thunderstorm gives content post-unification for communist nations. But I chose the West Russian Revolutionary Front because we were the most legitimate heir to Soviet or Russian reunification. We were so close to defeating the Germans, however everything collapsed after the First West Russian War. Now it's time to regain our honor and reunite the motherland and more. Well, we've got to take a closer look into our situation as a West Russian Revolutionary Front. We've got to look into our past, present, and future. We can take note on what went wrong and what we can do to improve. All of this will build up and hopefully contribute to the reunification of Russia. However, leadership is a major problem. We've got to choose either between the Red Napoleon, which is Mikhail Tukhachevsky, or the People's Marshal, Georgy Zhukov. And as you can see, I've chosen the People's Marshal, Georgy Zhukov. Now, we've got some decisions over here to increase his influence over our nation, and we can also decrease the influence of Mikhail Tukhachevsky. However, before increasing the influence of Zhukov, we're going to go down our more agricultural side of the focus tree, because if we focus on Zhukov's influence, that'll give a bad impression on Zhukov. The people might think that he's selfish and just greedy. We've got agricultural issues, but we rush through hastily down the focus tree, so this national debuff will soon cease to exist. Meaning, if we go back to our focus tree, we can go down Zhukov's side to increase his influence and assert his dominance over the West Russian Revolutionary Front. Now, this is just a side note. Winning the elections or the succession of Yegorov is incredibly easy. Either if you choose Tukhachevsky or Zhukov, it's just incredibly easy. Now, taking a closer look, these focuses on Zhukov's side aren't too shabby, if I do say so myself. They're improving our land doctrines, but most importantly, industry. As you can see, our industrial equipment, our GDP, everything is getting improved. Not to mention our army as well. That's a lot of improvement for the West Russian Revolutionary Front, which gives us a major lead for the future when we declare war on our neighboring nations. Well, with the first focus completed, the German Civil War has kicked off. So, what does it have to do with us? That means they can't bombarding us with bombs, meaning the Luftwaffe terror has vanished. So, we can begin a long road of recovery. As a result of the national debuff getting removed, we've got a little new focus tree, but it doesn't have much effect. However, that was the last focus that we would have when Alexander Yegorov is alive, because today marks the day that our beloved Alexander Yegorov passes away, and a new man, Georgy Zhukov, will take his place. Zhukov, I know you can lead us to greatness. Well, we unlocked a new focus tree, unlocking Sumatra decisions as well. The Sumatra decisions, if I haven't mentioned it before, are decisions that you do and complete to prepare for invasion on your neighboring nations in your little section, for example, with the West Russian Revolutionary Front and win Western Russia. Now, I'm getting sidetracked. I have justified on Volgada. Why? Well, I've befriended the Communist Republic since they've turned communist, so hopefully we can peacefully reunite as one. Well, actually, I'm going to attack two nations, now that I think about it. Volgada and the Order of St. George. Or Gaini, or however you pronounce it. The first war, or wars of the video, were relatively easy. We had 21 divisions, which is pretty nice for 1964. However, I would soon realize that we capitulated Volgada and Gani, I think that's how you pronounce it actually, a bit too effortlessly, so I'll try to make it a little bit harder, although I want to reunite Russia as fast as possible, so I don't know what I'll do, but our next targets will be Thunderstorm, and we'll try to welcome back the heroes of Gorky. Well, Gorky have thankfully accepted integration into the West Russian Revolutionary Front, meaning we get all of the mechanized divisions and generals. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. Well, we're now at war with Thunderstorm and, oh yeah, the Aryan Brotherhood. Looks like that they are pretty powerful. However, we'll overcome these puny traitors to the Soviet Union. And that's correct. Thunderstorm and the Aryan Brotherhood have capitulated, and we can integrate them back into the motherland, or what will become the motherland. Now it's time to declare war on the last two remaining Russian nations that we can declare war on, because come me, I'm going to integrate them, hopefully. We're going to declare war on Samara and Bashkortostan. As we began our invasion on Samara and Bashkortostan, Samara was already at war with Bashkortostan, however, that would just make it easier for us to capitulate both Soviet traitors. But you know who is a traitor to the motherland? The commie Soviet. I thought we were going to reunite peacefully, and I could gain the divisions and generals for free. However, they declined. They broke the agreement and declared war on me. I was just about to integrate them as well. Oh well. But don't worry, since we have completed our first Zhukov focus tree and eliminated all contestants in Western Russia, we can reunite Western Russia with the help of Zhukov's genius brain. However, we've got some issues to deal with. With the reunification of Western Russia, we have got an overextended administration. We'll overcome this by going down the left side of the focus tree, which will drastically decrease national debuffs. Oh yeah, two more issues that we have to resolve. Where we're going to move the capital? Well, we're going to keep it where it was originally founded, up north. It isn't the biggest city, but it's where we were founded. And we're also going to deal with the succession of Zhukov, if he ever gets succeeded. And we're going to go down Zhukov, cause that sounds like Zhukov. Anyways, back to the focus tree. Now, this focus tree didn't only decrease our overextended administration debuff, but it also increased the support of Zhukov, who is obviously Zhukov's successor, which is pretty nice. But it was quite boring on my behalf because there was no expansion and stuff like that, blah blah blah, you get it. We just completed the side of the focus tree and increased Zhukov's influence over Russia immensely. Well, we are now brought with the Karelian War. We have got some new decisions which, once completed and we've finished all that we have to do, we will be able to launch a full-scale invasion on the finish. well, we haven't only got these decisions as well, we've also got the preparation for the invasion of the Southern Urals, the race for the Urals, the race between Western Russia, which is us, and Western Siberia, which is led by, I think, Nikita Khrushchev. Well, we're now at war with the Republic of Finland, and guess what? Finland is in a civil war between the Finnish Socialist Republic and Karelia, Murmansk. Actually, sorry, how did I get them mixed up? Anyways, Aniga and the Finnish fell within barely a week. Absolutely embarrassing on the behalf of the Finnish. But, I mean, I'm not complaining. No time to celebrate, for as we are commencing in the invasion of the Southern Urals. Our Air Force and Army should swiftly take care of the southern threat and beat Nikita Khrushchev for these puny little states, which Zhukov will transform into paradise. We almost ceded Magnitogorsk, I think so I pronounce it, but in the end we assimilated everything. With the national focus, the Rukov countries being completed, we have founded the Communist International, aka the Comintern, where we can invite socialist or communist nations, and later on we can benefit them with the Comecon, which is again a communist, socialist, I don't know, way of industry, economic laws or whatever. But in the future, if we do reunite Russia and we form our own faction, all nations in the Comintern will actually come into our faction and not just be a little diplomatic relationship and weak national spirit, which is pretty nice if I do say so myself, because we can move through their territories. As you can see, we have reached all the way to Colombia and Indonesia. Wow. Well, it's 1969 and we could declare war on Nikita Khrushchev. However, I invited them into the Communist International, and I do fancy some more generals and divisions and stuff like that over violence and losing manpower. So we're gonna go and commence negotiations for Western Russian and Western Siberian reunification. Now, as you can see, it took around 4 months-ish, 5 months, I think, for negotiations. However, Zhukov and his intelligence was able to triumph over Khrushchev, and we can integrate all of Western Siberia without needing to declare war or invade anybody. Pretty nice. But just 2 years later, negotiations won't stop there, whereas the Siberian Socialist Republic, would fall to diplomatic negotiations for Russian reunification, and once again we would remain triumphant with our negotiation skills, and soon enough the Siberian Soviet Socialist Republic would reunite with the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. I've already got the name, we don't need to change it, whereas all we need to do is just click a single button to reunite the glorious motherland, the return of the front. Well, no time to celebrate. The Soviet Union is united more than ever, and we've still got vengeance on our mind 24/7. However, we have got a new focus tree. We can finally get into the interesting stuff that the Operation Thunderstorm mod has to offer. Now it is going to take quite the preparation for the Second West-Russian War. I've actually, to be honest, through my experience playing TNO, I've never ever heard Operation Thunderstorm, the submod. However, I've always just been playing the Second West Russian War, so I guess I'm gonna have to vary between those two. Or actually, you guys can decide in the comment section if you want to see me play more Operation Thunderstorm or the Second West Russian War. But anyways, back to the video. We have acquired 110 more divisions, and we've got so many great and honourable, memorable field marshals and generals who are willing and heroic enough to serve Zhukov's Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Anyways, the situation right here. The Union is more united. This is true more than ever. Why? Because we are bonded together with vengeance and the aid and the motivation from Zhukov that he gives to the people. Anyways, back to Operation Thunderstorm's first focus tree for Georgy Zhukov. We've got 3 areas to explore first, and we're gonna go down the left side, where we can do a little bit of expansion. This focus right here, on the left, we can influence and conquer or assimilate into the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. I mean, they were part of the Soviet Union. It's just the right thing to do, I suppose, isn't it? And Georgy Zhukov is a Kroll. I don't see why they wouldn't want to join us. And, oh yeah, we'll also send volunteers to Iran, I guess. Hopefully they won't betray us like they did last video. But anyways, we're gonna try and negotiate with the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic to be integrated into the motherland. Let's see if they'll accept. Oh, yes. A wise decision made by the Kazakh government. We're not done yet in Central Asia, are we? We have still got 4 nations to influence. We're going to invade some non-communist nations and ask for integration from the rest. They better accept. If not, they're going to face Zhukov's wrath. Oh, well. Let's see if they'll accept. Yes. I knew it. Another wise decision. I'm proud of these satellites. They're getting extra rations today. Now we're just cleaning up Central Asia. I'll take this war. It's time to speak. Well, I know the video production isn't the best, but this is all I have to work with. I'm not the richest YouTuber, let's be honest. I'm struggling, but I'm not going to mention too much. I'm not going to get into too much detail. But instead of being capitalistic, I'm going to try and produce the best content that I can. I'm not going to say subscribe, like, or anything like that. It's your choice, fully. Anyways, I'm incredibly sorry for the interruption. We are now more than ready. I don't know why we have to wait so long to declare war on Germany. They're weak, they're so weak. But, oh well. I guess we can integrate our Central Asian territories and gain even more buffs to help us in the Second West Russian War. Now just a quick update on what's happening around the world. I helped the Socialist Federation of Iran win their civil war, and over in Germany and its allies, it's not looking so well. Quite interested in what will happen, and more interesting is in Arabia. Socialism rules over the peninsula. Well, everything is ready. We have gone through our entire focus tree, except for one focus, which makes us declare war on Germany and its allies. Well, I said I was going to make this a challenge for me earlier in this video, so I'm going to wait for the Germans to recover from the little crisis that they're having internally with their puppets and stuff like that. Come on, Germany, stop slacking. Hurry up, I'm kind of bored. Well, the end of the slave revolt has finally been concluded, meaning Zhukov can complete his final focus, which will declare war on Germany and its allies. Will we prevail? I'm not sure. it's over for the Germans. They nuked their own capital. And right here, it's peace. Yep, calculating peace conference. Okay, we have acquired reasonable amount of territory, but most importantly, we have crippled fascism throughout Europe as a whole. The Soviet Union is greater than ever. We have got our revenge, finally, after decades of waiting. Georgy Zhukov remains triumphant over the evils of the world. But that doesn't mean we have a brand new focus tree. There have been so many focus trees today, but this is the final one, and as you can see, it's pretty sizable. But let's indulge in this new focus tree. Well, it looks like the communism is rippling through Europe, throughout Germany. Look, they're little German states. Oh, up north in Hamburg, and Poland in Poland as well. If we go to our foreign policy, we've got some decisions to help us aid our communist brothers, such allies, in Germany during the Civil War. While continuing down our focus tree, we've got to calm down on all the war efforts that we produced. All of our effort, manpower, has gone for the single war, and we've won it. But being the victors doesn't mean all glory and fame. We've got to rebuild. Oh yeah, we've got Poland as a puppet. But I guess we are demobilizing, but we may as well just, sneak in a few little territory snatches here and there. However, since the Republic of China has been reborn as well as, just like us, we can't do a major section of our focus tree. But wait, do you think that's gonna stop me? Nope. We're gonna continue down our conquest. Now remember how I said that all the nations that are in the Communist International would join our faction once the continent was reborn? Well, I think that day has arrived. After the super fan is loaded, it's not fully done, doesn't matter. But Comintern has been fully revived, and we've got factions over here. You'll see the shore. Yeah, sure. We surely get. I was hoping for some more, but it looks like they didn't acquire too many nations before Russian unification, but oh well. And it appears that the communists have won in Germany. Pretty nice, but they probably would have crumbled without the aid of the mighty Soviets. Now, Vietnam was at war with Japan, and since they're in a faction, I decided maybe I could sneak in a little Asian war. Is it possible? Well, it wasn't. I had to allow Diplo and declare war using the console command. But we didn't need to talk about that. The main thing is, we're at war with the Republic of China, and what's left of Japan and its allies. So, without further ado, let's get this started. Well, there we go. China, Japan and its allies have all been defeated by Zhukov and its forces. Nice. But we're not going to stop conquering just yet. We're going to look back over to Europe. Our first little territorial expansion in Europe was on Finland, but they were in affection, so they kind of declined. But anyways, we were going to the Balkans. Hungary, Romania, you know, those nations. Yugoslavia is a bit complicated, but we'll take care of them later. But now, it's time for Zhukov's final offenses on Europe and a little bit in Africa.
Свято дорожим доверием народа, и верность наша славной родине крепка. Недаром с декабря 17-го года мы носим имя гордое.
Well, Germany has been secured, meaning we can launch more operations, like I said, in Europe and a little bit of Northern Africa. Why is Germany joining us important? Well, not because of their land, it's because of what they can do. What do you mean? Well, we've got more focuses to do, more land to conquer. So, let's commence.
О наших именах не прочитать в газетах, но что прошла беда над миром стороной. Пусть до утра не спят в рабочих кабинетах майоры с генеральской сединой. Нам в руки вложен щит и меч родной державы, врагу не одолеть незыблемый редут. Овеяны вечной негасимой славой традиции Дзержинского живут. Не беда, что в песках седина, и порой до утра не уснуть. Мы готовы с тобой, старина, повторить этот огненный путь. Мы готовы с тобой, старина, повторить этот огненный путь.
Well, our last war of the video would be invading Italian Antarctica. Oh, that's kinda... whatever. But, now that that's out of the way, we can reconstruct Europe. More importantly, all the territories that we own. I mean, just look at this, bro. Our faction is so massive. But also, there are some nations that are socialist that should have joined our faction. Like the United Arab Republic, Nordics, Austria. So, I'm just gonna do a little, sneaky thing. But now, our faction looks much more smoother and much more legitimate. I'm not going to add all socialist nations because it would be unfair. But now I think it's time for Georgy Zhukov to retire, hang up its boots, call it a day. He has done so much for Mother Russia, more than any nation throughout history. He is the most memorable man in mankind in this universe. Thank you, Zhukov, but your time is now over. You can rest. He is not only gone as leader of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, but he is also gone as the greatest field marshal. He was there since day one. Back in 1962, we were humiliated. The West Russian Revolutionary Front seemed like it was going to die. We lost so many territories since the first West Russian War. However, Georgy Zhukov has led the West Russian Revolutionary Front to many victories, defeating the Germans, Japanese, basically all of Europe. Communism spread throughout the globe. Basically everywhere is red. All you can see is communism, socialism, even to the Americas. Colombia and even the United States of America is communism. Communism, communism, communism. Everywhere. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been weird, the uploading schedule, but I've been working really hard for you guys, so yeah. Anyways, yet again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and bye.